All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Filipino American Woman Project. I am your creator and co-host, Jen Amos. And as always, 100 plus episodes later, Nani Dominguez is still with me, my co-host. So Nani, welcome back.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back.
Yeah. And today is kind of a casual, like, let's see what we talk about kind of day. It's been a while since Nani and I have done a video, a recording for you all. And we just thought we would take about half an hour to say hi and hello. And you're all probably wondering, like, Jen, are you in a hotel? And the answer is yes. And if you want to know more, check us out at Chismes with Jen Nani, which you can learn more about on biasglobal.com. But yes, I am in a hotel right now. I'm wearing a new hat, Nani. I got a new hat.
I saw that.
Yeah, it says Virginia is for lovers. And in case anyone is interested to know what that means, if whether you're from Virginia, or actually for people who've never been to Virginia, that's their slogan. So Virginia is for lovers. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's like a PR campaign that they've had for decades. I actually looked it up because, once you arrive at the airport and you're leaving the airport, they always say, welcome to Virginia. Virginia is for lovers. And that's what I actually always kind of appreciated about them. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like Virginia's for lovers, and some people will like play with the name, say like, oh, Virginia is for bird lovers. Virginia is for boat lovers, like. So
I see.
Fun play on the slogan, but I looked it up and they've had the slogan for decades. And yeah, anyway, I just decided to finally rep where I live.
now that you're not there.
Yeah, as I'm traveling right now, which again, you all can learn more about in Chismes with Jen and Nani when I disclose about my travel plans and why I'm traveling. But you know what I realized, Nani, is like, I wouldn't wear this hat if I was in Virginia. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't see people like rep where they're at. It's like, I feel like you have to like wear this when you're somewhere else. And so that is why I'm wearing this hat, is because I am not in Virginia currently. And I decided to rep Virginia because even though I've lived in California for 20 years, like, Virginia has become my home and I just feel compelled to letting people know. So there you go.
Yeah.
So I thought we'd use this time to just start by thanking you all for being part of our journey and, acknowledging the fact that a lot of you have engaged with us and we've been really appreciating it. And at the same time, with everything that's going on in Nani's life, in my life, we know that we have some messages to get back to. So we just want to thank you all for your patience and your grace. And we do plan on getting to your messages.
Okay. We wanted to dedicate this episode to thanking you all for your patience and for your persistence, for staying with us, especially our day one listeners and our newbies that are just now joining the TFAW family. We both have a lot going on in our lives. Like Jen said, she's traveling, which you can learn more about why on Chismes with Jen and Nani if you're not already a member on biasglobal.com. And I am currently 37 to 38, somewhere in between 37 and 38 weeks pregnant. So I will be giving birth anytime now. And so, we just have a lot going on, and we know that we have a lot of engagement coming in that we haven't had a chance to respond to yet. And so again, we just want to thank you for giving us grace, patience, understanding, and yes, just showing us a little compassion with the time and capacity that we have in getting back to your messages. So we wanted to dedicate today to all of you who have reached out, who have interacted with us, who have showed us love on biasglobal.com. Thank you so much. We love you. We're here. We receive your love and we're sending it back to you in this message if we haven't already responded to you individually.
Wow. Thank you for swooping in, Nani. And that was beautifully said. And I realized, okay, I totally forgot this. I have jet lag. Like, that's why I'm trying to pull shit out of my ass right now. And
and there's a hint for you all who don't know where she is.
There you go. So the mystery continues. Where's Jen right now? So by the time this episode gets released, and I've disclosed this last week, I was in Nashville and for a little bit, and I was able to be a part of a panel at Podcast Movement. And I just want to read the description to you because I think it's worth noting. So I was very fortunate to be a part of a panel titled Using Microphones to Shatter the Bamboo Ceiling, How Hearing Asian Voices Can Flip the Narrative Around Being Asian. And this was the first podcast conference I've been in person in forever. And so I'm excited to talk more about it on Chismis with Jen and Nani about the experience and possibly even provide you all a replay of that conversation. So yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about that. But other than that, that's as far as you all will know in regards to my travels. So yeah, so in addition to piggyback off of what Nani said, we are extremely grateful. And part of it is like, it's crazy to think that here we are, like 100 episodes, like 100 plus episodes, I think going 115 like episodes now. In the podcasting space, there's something called pod fading, which means that about starting a podcast. And, they try to pump out all these, and eventually they get to a point where like they run out of ideas, they, run out of topics to talk about, or, life happens and they just fade away. So that hence pod fading. And I just want to take a minute here to acknowledge like our journey, having done this together, for 2 years, and to have built the community we have built, and kind of understanding the responsibility with that, understanding that like there are people who like, I have our episodes published, like, let's say, 6 a.m. Pacific or 6 a.m. Eastern time. And when I wake up, which is not at 6 a.m. Eastern time, I wake up late, I look at the stats and see that a number of people, a lot of people have already listened to the show even before I wake up. And so it tells me, even without our listeners telling us directly, it tells me through the downloads that people look forward to these episodes, and so I just want to take a minute to thank our listeners, even if you don't engage with us directly, like your downloads tell us that you appreciate this content. And it, motivates me to continue to show up, even with everything that's going on in my life, or actually because everything's going on in my life. It's like, I kind of want you all to be a part of our journey and see like, what it takes to show up on a weekly basis to be able to do the show, and to more importantly, show up for all of you. Like that is important for me, not just to be there for you all, but it's even like therapeutic for me to know like, oh, like I am responsible to show up and provide this content, and to feel needed in that sense. So even if, just like what Nani said, even if we, haven't emailed you back yet or text you back yet, we want you to know that like our priority is producing this content consistently and showing up for you consistently. And, hopefully when things settle down in our personal lives, we can get back to you. But know that, your engagement is greatly appreciated. And even if you're just, listening to the show, which is really everything, it means a lot to us.
Yeah. And I think that what we're trying to say is that we just couldn't do this without you guys. And whether or not we are able to, let you know that in one day after you email us or text us, or a month, later, we are trying to express that now and really just remind you that what's so special about the TFAW Project and what we do here on this podcast is there's this like unique exchange of power that we are having with our community, which is you guys. And really all we're doing is providing the space for the conversation that you guys want to have. And so we couldn't do that without your engagement, without your feedback. And so however we respond to that, whether it be, bringing up messages or conversation topics that you guys message us about on the show, or responding to you directly, the content that we put out is a direct result of the feedback that we get from you guys. And so again, we just couldn't do it without you. And it's our way of building our own little self-sustaining community, I guess, and really redefining what success looks like, what power looks like, and, learning to exercise it, as in exchange it with you all, instead of people putting the faces of a certain project or organization up on a pedestal and considering that as power. The power that we want to kind of exemplify here is like a very equal exchange with you all.
Yeah, I think that's beautifully said. And it got me to think about part of why I love showing up with everything going on in our lives is that we know that you all have our back. Like we know that like you will, again, going back to the word grace, like give us that grace to like kind of come back and showing up imperfectly, right? We were very fortunate, which, we'll have this released in a TJN episode, but Nani and I were recently interviewed to be a part of someone else's academic paper, actually. And, this lady, I won't give all the details yet because it's not out publicly, but like she was very curious to learn about independent podcasters such as us, meaning that we produce our own show. Like we don't have like a big corporation or a third party, producing our shows. Like it's really us like doing all this work. And I actually really enjoyed that conversation with her because being able to express to her like what we do and why we do it, it got me to kind of realize like, the power of community and the power of like, man, like I wouldn't do this show if people didn't like it, if we weren't receiving that feedback, And so in that conversation and hearing you talk, Nani, it got me to think about like how much I appreciate like feeling needed in a community that we created, because when I think about like, my past life of trying to work a job, I think that if we like feel the need to seek someone's approval in a way, because I think we all I think inherently want that. I'm glad to seek that approval through our community because it feels so healthy to me. It feels reciprocated. It feels like I'm not giving more than I can give. And I love it. Like, I think what I've grown to appreciate in these, last 2 years of really doing the show with you and growing this community is like just kind of transitioning from feeling like I had to do it all. Like I had to be that like individual to stand out and make it about me to, if you do notice me, you notice my village as well. You notice my community. Like I am standing on the shoulders of giants in a sense. And I wouldn't exist if you all didn't exist, and it just so happens that, Nani and I are the voice of our community, but like we wouldn't be a voice if we didn't have that community. So if I'm sounding redundant, it's because I'm still processing that. I'm still processing the power of what I'm defining as my family here at the TFAW Project and my community here. And so really, we wanted to take this episode to just pause for a little bit and acknowledge you, the listener, for showing up. Like, even if you don't message us directly, to see that download, to see a new follower on Instagram, to see a new subscriber, on our newsletter. It's powerful. And that's why I keep showing up.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think I talked about this in last week's newsletter at the time of this episode, or at the time of this recording. It would have been last week's newsletter where I talked about kind of having that really unique and special bond, which is also something I mentioned in a blog post that I wrote, which is in the newsletter. So you guys can also find that there, about how unique our bond, how uniquely intimate Filipino families have in the way that they bond and show connection and show love with each other. And whether that be your blood family, like your biological family, or your chosen family. And for a lot of us, we don't have that with our biological families. And so we seek it in other places. And, such as this podcast, or even just searching like a hashtag on Instagram, which, you can find entire communities based on that, which is the beautiful thing about technology and social media. Even if it can go, too far down the rabbit hole and become toxic, it can always become toxic is the point. But yeah, whether that be your biological or your chosen family, it's this really unique way, again, that we form intimacy and that we bond, that I don't see in a lot of other like ethnic enclaves. So I just really appreciate that about our culture. And whether or not you feel connected to your identity or your Filipino roots, like you have that in you, you have that natural way of connecting with people in you. And it comes out whether or not you're, at work, at school, at home, with your family, with your friends. You exemplify that just by having it in your blood.
I think that's beautifully said. Once again, I'm just going to say that every time we talk. But and again, it reminds me of what I was talking about with like that desire to always seek approval in a sense. And it's like, that's just inherently in us. Like we've been wanting that since we were babies. And I used to be ashamed of that. You know what I mean? Because I felt like it was taken advantage of. And so to be in a space where it feels reciprocated, like I feel like I'm getting what I'm giving in a sense.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's rare. And it's beautiful. And it's worth taking a pause in between our interviews and typical commentaries to just stop here for a second and say thank you.
And point out. Yeah.
Thank you all. Yeah. I mean, I kind of feel speechless now, but that's really just all I want. That's all I wanted to really say in this recording today, is just thank you all for existing. And even if we never hear from you again, that download, it means so much to us. It tells us that like you enjoy our show and we want to keep showing up for you. So Yeah.
Yes. I think the bottom line is this is a space for us, by us. And again, we just couldn't do it without you. And we love you so much. And we hope that you continue, even if we, take a while to get back to you. We hope that you continue to reach out and let us know, like what your thoughts are on what we're talking about on the show, what we've released on TJN, what kind of content you would like to see more of or less of, whatever your feedback is, we welcome it. And we just appreciate the authenticity that you guys show us. And we hope that you can feel that reciprocated, on our end as well through these episodes.
Yeah. And that's all. I think that's a great way to wrap up our conversation today. We just wanted to keep it short and simple and, say we love you and we appreciate you and we see you. I mean, not like literally see you, but, we see you through the downloads, the subscribes, the, following us on social media. And I get it. Like we had a past listener message us and say like, I typically never message the hosts, the podcast hosts, but with you guys, I felt compelled to doing that. And that means a lot. Like I definitely have a lot of content where I never directly reach out to people. So, as much as we keep begging people to engage with us, like your downloads is a form of engagement. We want you to know that and we appreciate it. So and also if you do reach out to us directly, we will respond, even if it's not right away. I totally get that. I feel the same way about other podcasts and shows that I listen to. Is like, oh, I would never actually like think to reach out to them because they're not going to respond, they have too much to do. They're obviously busy, but we are not those people. We will respond in due time. Exactly. We will respond eventually, but we will. Yeah. That's a pride point for me. Like it's always important for me to respond to people, even if it's not right away. And,
my thing is I want to have the mental capacity to respond. So if I feel like scatterbrained and like there's a lot going on in life, I don't want to open an email that's, 3 pages long where someone is spilling their personal, life and details to me when I can't give them that fullness in my response. So when I feel able to sit down and give that my full attention and take the time that an appropriate response warrants, I will do that. So just know in the meantime, we received it. We love you. Thank you. And we will talk to you soon.
Yes. All right. Anyway, that's all we wanted to share for today. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you for just showing up for us as much as we show up for you. And of course, if you want to reach out, you know our phone number, 415-484-8329. You can also email us because we know that people love sending novels to us. We love receiving them. We love responding to them eventually. Jen at TFAWproject.com or Nani at TFAWproject.com. And that's it. I hope that you all enjoyed today's message, love letter to you all. And
yes, and just one last thing before we go, we want to give a shout out to Rachel on biasboba.com who watched our Champorado cooking lesson on Chismes with Jen and Nani last week with Clarice and Isabel. And Jen will read the comment for you all so that you guys can hear her feedback. And if you haven't already watched the replay of that, definitely check that out before it's archived forever. And you can only access it if you become a member.
Yeah, you will only, you got to watch it now to learn how to make champorado before it gets archived. Because otherwise, you'll never learn how to make champorado ever again.
Because it's so complicated.
Because you haven't watched it or it's archived now. So just, learn now while you can. And it is complicated. No, so shout out to Rachel. She says, great cooking tutorial. This is all new to me as I grew up on fast food. Love the work that you all do. Special thanks to Clarice and Isabel for taking the time to teach us all about this dish. So cool to see you cook along, Nani. It turned out great. Jen, I want to see your champorado. So I didn't participate because I was dealing with the live stream and other personal things where I was like, okay, I just got to focus on making sure the stream works. But yes, I owe you all a champorado cooking. And so that is something we will look forward to in the future. So that is on my to-do list amongst the messages that I still need to get back to from all of you.
Yes. So if you're looking to exercise your Filipino cooking skills and get some other Filipino recipes under your what do you call it? The notches in your belt. What is that saying?
Under your belt.
You guys, under your belt. You guys know what I'm saying. Then Champorado is a simple, easy way to do that. It was just about the level of complexity that I need in the kitchen, which is very low. So Clarice and Isabel,
you have to watch it.
yes, thank you both for showing me how to do that. And it was so much fun to just spend time together on a Saturday morning cooking a traditional Filipino breakfast dessert that is a great alternative to oatmeal, y'all.
Oh yeah, for sure. I can't wait to make it and send you all pictures or post it somewhere. So, all right. With that said, we love you all. Thank you all again for your love and support. And we'll chat with you in the next episode. Tune in next time.
Bye.